So how do you start with this? Well, in all honesty, it'll probably take a few goes before you find a meaty market to go after. And I recommend you start looking in your own backyard. And as I discussed with Freddie last week, simply find out who's building what in your area and go from there. You certainly aren't confined to your own area, but it is a good place to start. All it takes to find this out is to ring up a few auctioneers in your area and ask them. I find auctioneers and property lawyers to be a lot more friendly and agreeable to get information from than realtors, but they are worth a phone call too. And once you start getting some market info, then you can start to analyze it. Also, depending on where you are based, you might have access to the planning documents being submitted to your local building councils. I have access to that here in London, and most countries do. So have a look at what is being submitted to be built. So there you can see what is being built in your area in terms of high-end resi. This really is the most important task you can do for your business. No one else is going to do it for you. And this is the difference between being successful and working with great clients or being constantly screwed out of projects by your competition with cheap clients. And as I said, you don't have to confine yourself to your area. Think big. Go countrywide if you want. Hell, even go international. What we have discussed here is a whole different level of playing the game. Once you pick a market and own it, you're the only architect there. Having expert status in the eyes of the potential client does wonders for your credibility before they even speak to you. So use it, even if you don't currently have the best website or portfolio. That won't stop you from getting the bigger jobs. So, does this all sound exciting to you? Do you see yourself using this information to get into high-end resi? Now, this can work very well on its own, providing you pick a niche that hasn't much competition in it. They still do exist. Pete Nelson has done very well with tree houses after all, and Tony Pope is doing very well with high-end shipping container homes. However, it does leave you open to competitive attack. And what happens if you want to get into a niche that does have competition in it? Most architects want to build contemporary houses. It's the most popular niche, but it's also the most competitive. There are plenty of bigger, more established architects in that niche. So how could you take them on and win? Well, that brings us to also choosing a client niche. And I'm going to talk about that next week. Now, as we've already discussed last week, there is a big difference between Joe Sub clients and the high-end resi clients. So next week, I'm going to concentrate on affluent clients and what makes them tick, because there are two sides to this equation. The first side is that they see you understand them and what they want from the project, and that's what we covered here. The other side of the equation is what they need to see in you as a person and as an architect, and that's just as important, and we'll address all that next week. You see, one of the big obstacles you will face when you get into this market is starting to deal with people of a massive net worth, especially when compared to your own. And it doesn't take much to have an inferiority complex with these people. However, when you see what I'm going to share with you next week, then you'll see that you have nothing to fear at all. There are also three major things that they need to see in you before they will consider hiring you, and I'll show you what those are next week too. So next week, I'm going to discuss affluent clients. Now, if you would like a shortcut to doing all this, then I do have a coaching program called the High-End Resi Social Media E-Class, which is an online training with personal coaching from me, where I walk you hand in hand through the 5 steps of the blueprint so you can be up and running with getting high-end resi projects as soon as possible. It's got all my templates and word-for-word messages. It's got my social media posts and a bunch of stuff to get you where you want to go much faster than you will be able to do on your own, as well as having my mentorship showing you how to apply it. It is an application-only program, and if you want to know more about the program, then you will need to book a no-cost, no-obligation discovery call with me personally, and we can chat about it and see if we're a good fit for working together on getting you high-end resi projects for your business. I only do 8 calls per week, so you'll need to book one now if you want one, and we can chat then. So just go to the web address on the screen here and just book one now. So, does anyone have any questions on this? And even better, does anyone want to join me on the stream from their webcam? I'm going to put the link into it now.